The pounding in Rachel Morrison's head was the first thing she noticed. The second was that she wasn't in her own bed. The third was that she was wearing a man's shirt and nothing else. Rachel's eyes flew open. She was in an unfamiliar bedroom, simple and clean, with morning sunlight streaming through plain curtains. The shirt she wore was navy blue, soft cotton, far too large for her frame, and she had absolutely no memory of how she'd gotten here. Panic seized her chest. She sat up quickly, which made her head throb worse. She looked around frantically for her clothes, for her phone, for any clue about what had happened. The bedroom door opened and Rachel's panic doubled. A man stood there, holding a glass of water and 2 aspirin. He wore a navy t-shirt and plaid pajama pants, his dark hair slightly messy, and Rachel recognized him immediately. Nathan Harper, her employee, the logistics coordinator who'd worked for her company for 3 years, a quiet, competent single father in his mid-30s who always left work exactly at 5 to pick up his daughter from school. "You're awake," Nathan said gently. "I brought aspirin. You're probably feeling pretty rough." Rachel stared at him, her mind racing through terrible possibilities. "What happened? Why am I here? Why am I wearing your shirt?" Nathan's expression remained calm, non-threatening. "You don't remember?" "No," Rachel said, her voice rising with fear and confusion. "I don't remember anything after the company party. I had a few drinks and then everything's blank. Please tell me what happened. Please tell me we didn't do anything," Nathan said firmly, setting the water and aspirin on the nightstand. "I'm going to stay by the door so you feel safe, and I'm going to explain everything, okay?" Rachel nodded, pulling the shirt tighter around herself, her heart hammering. Nathan stayed where he was, giving her space. "Last night was the company's 10th anniversary party. You had several glasses of champagne. Around 9:30 I saw you by the bar, and you weren't looking well. I asked if you were okay, and you said you felt dizzy and nauseous. I offered to call you a car service." He paused. "But when I checked your phone to call your emergency contact, I found texts from your ex-boyfriend. He'd been harassing you all evening, saying he was waiting outside your apartment, that he needed to talk to you, that he wasn't leaving until you did." The texts got increasingly aggressive. Rachel's stomach dropped. Marcus, her ex-boyfriend of 6 months who couldn't accept that she'd ended things, who'd been showing up at her office, her gym, her favorite coffee shop, who'd made her feel unsafe in her own home. "I couldn't send you home to that," Nathan continued. "Not when you were impaired and he was clearly unstable. So I brought you here instead. My guest room. You were pretty out of it by then. You spilled wine on your dress in the car, so when we got here, I gave you one of my shirts to sleep in. I left the dress to soak in the bathroom sink." He met her eyes steadily. "My daughter Emma was at my sister's house for the night, so you had privacy. I slept on the couch downstairs. I checked on you twice during the night to make sure you were okay, but I didn't touch you beyond helping you to the guest room. I give you my word. Nothing inappropriate happened." Rachel felt tears prick her eyes. Not from fear now, but from overwhelming relief mixed with shame. "I'm so sorry. This is so unprofessional. You shouldn't have had to take care of your boss like this. You should have just called me a car and let me deal with it, and let you go home to a man who was sending threatening messages." Nathan shook his head. "No. I've been in your position before. My ex-wife had a boyfriend who wouldn't leave her alone after they broke up. I know what that fear looks like. I wasn't going to send you into that situation." He paused. "Also, you're not just my boss. You're a human being who needed help. That matters more than professional hierarchy." Rachel looked at this man who'd protected her when she was vulnerable, who'd given up his comfort and sleep to make sure she was safe, who was standing carefully by the door to make sure she didn't feel threatened. "Thank you," she whispered. "I don't know what would have happened if you'd sent me home." "Do you want to call the police?" Nathan asked. "About your ex? Those texts are threatening. You could get a restraining order." Rachel nodded slowly. "I think I need to. This has gone on too long. I've been trying to handle it myself, but it's just getting worse. I'll support you however I can," Nathan said. "Statements, testimony, whatever you need." He gestured toward the door. "I made coffee. Your dress is dry now. Take your time getting ready. There's a spare toothbrush in the bathroom. When you're ready, I can drive you home, or I can call you a car. Whatever makes you most comfortable." 30 minutes later, Rachel came downstairs wearing her now clean dress, feeling human again despite the lingering headache. Nathan was in the kitchen making breakfast. The apartment was modest but warm, with children's drawings on the refrigerator and photos of a little girl with dark hair and her father's kind eyes. "That's Emma," Nathan said, noticing Rachel looking at the photos. "She's 8, obsessed with dinosaurs and wants to be a paleontologist." "She's beautiful," Rachel said. "You're a good father. I can tell from how you talk about her." "I try," Nathan said. "Her mother left when she was 3, decided family life wasn't for her. It's been just us ever since." He poured coffee and set out toast. "I hope you don't mind, but I saved the text messages from your ex. Screenshotted them to your email, for evidence. I thought you might want them when you file the police report." Rachel sat down, overwhelmed by this quiet competence, this careful protection from someone who owed her nothing beyond his job performance. "Why are you being so kind?" she asked. "Most people would have just called me a car and washed their hands of the situation." Nathan was quiet for a moment. "When Emma's mother left, I was devastated, couldn't function. A coworker at my old job, someone I barely knew, showed up at my house every morning for 2 weeks. Brought breakfast, helped with Emma, made sure I was eating and sleeping. He saved my life during that time. When I tried to thank him, he said, 'This is what we do for each other. Pass it on.' He looked at Rachel, so that's what I'm doing, passing it on. Someone helped me when I needed it. Now I'm helping you." Over the next few weeks, Rachel filed for a restraining order against Marcus. Nathan came to court with her, providing testimony about the threatening texts. The order was granted. Marcus violated it twice and was arrested. Finally, blessedly, it stopped. During that time, Rachel saw Nathan differently, not as the quiet logistics coordinator who left at 5 every day, but as a man of deep integrity and kindness. Someone who'd protected her without asking for anything in return. She also noticed that Nathan came to work exhausted most days, that he worked through lunch, that he was constantly juggling calls with his daughter's school and his sister about childcare. Rachel made changes. She implemented flexible work hours for parents. She established a backup childcare fund. She promoted Nathan to operations director with a substantial raise and the ability to work from home when needed. "This isn't because of what you did for me," Rachel said when she offered him the promotion. "This is because you're exceptional at your job and you've been underutilized. But I'm not going to pretend that what happened didn't make me see the company differently, made me see what we were asking parents to sacrifice. You shouldn't have to choose between being present for your daughter and advancing your career." 6 months after that. Morning in Nathan's guest room, Rachel asked him to dinner. Not as boss and employee, but as two people who'd seen each other at their most vulnerable. "I need to be honest," Rachel said over dinner. "I have feelings for you, but I also have concerns. I'm your boss. There's a power dynamic. I don't ever want you to feel pressured or uncomfortable. If you're not interested, nothing changes professionally. Your job is secure regardless." Nathan smiled, a real smile that made her heart skip. "I have feelings for you too. Have for a while, if I'm honest. But I didn't say anything because I thought it would be inappropriate. You're my boss. I didn't want you to think I'd helped you that night because I had ulterior motives." "I never thought that," Rachel said. "You helped me because you're a good person. That's why I'm interested in you. Not despite the power dynamic, but because you're someone who does the right thing even when it's inconvenient." They dated slowly, carefully, mindful of the professional complications. Rachel recused herself from decisions about Nathan's compensation and advancement, delegating those decisions to the board. They were transparent with HR. They did everything right. And Emma, when she finally met Rachel 6 months into the relationship, declared her pretty cool for a grown-up, and demanded to know if Rachel liked dinosaurs. Rachel admitted she didn't know much about them, and Emma offered to teach her everything. 2 years later, Rachel and Nathan were married. Emma was the flower girl, wearing a dress she'd picked out herself and her favorite dinosaur sneakers. In his vows, Nathan said, "The morning you woke up in my guest room, you were scared and vulnerable. You could have been angry or embarrassed. Instead, you were grateful. You saw kindness and valued it. That's when I knew you were someone special. In her vows, Rachel said, "You protected me when I couldn't protect myself. You expected nothing in return. You taught me that power isn't about control or hierarchy. It's about using whatever influence you have to keep people safe, to make their lives better." That's the kind of person I want to build a life with. If this story resonated with you, please like and share it with someone who needs reminded that true character shows in how we treat people when they're vulnerable. Subscribe for more stories about kindness, integrity, and unexpected connection. And comment below about a time someone protected you when you needed it most, or a time you chose to help someone even when it was inconvenient. Your story might inspire someone to be that person for someone else today.